Today we are going to tell you about Escape and Chase, but before, don't forget to like and share. Stay with movies. The police operation in question took place in Ceilândia, an area known for high crime rates, including drug trafficking, illegal possession of firearms, and robberies. Under the command of First Sergeant Eduardo and his partners, Cabo Verdeano and Cabo Elisvaldo, the mission prioritized patrolling the northern and lower parts of Ceilândia, areas with higher crime frequencies. During the operation, a robbery occurred at an optical store, where the assailants stole valuable items, including an antique firearm, estimated to be 100 years old. The police teams quickly organized after receiving radio information about the suspect's location. Using the Bravo code, the patrol was sent to Block 9, an area already known for gang disputes and drug trafficking. At the scene, the police found signs of a possible escape, but after intensifying the search, they located 3 of the suspects. One of the robbers, identified through a stolen cell phone, attempted to flee but was intercepted. Subsequently, the other 2 suspects were located and arrested. Upon checking the situation at the optical store, the police noticed that the staff was visibly shaken, though no one had suffered serious injuries. The leader of the criminal group tried to resist arrest, claiming that the stolen goods had already been dispersed. However, the evidence and identification by the victims confirmed his direct involvement in the crime. The group was taken to the 15th police station, where they were formally charged with robbery and possession of a firearm. In addition, they were taken for formal identification by the store's victims. The gang was already known in the region, with previous records for crimes such as theft and involvement in drug trafficking. With the arrest of the 3 suspects, the operation was considered a partial success, even though the stolen items, such as the ring and the firearm, had not yet been recovered. Sergeant Eduardo, at the end of the operation, highlighted that the investigations would continue, and that the arrest of these individuals would be a significant blow to criminal activities in the region. He also mentioned that although the situation was temporarily under control, patrols would be intensified in the coming weeks to prevent further incidents. The operation demonstrated the effectiveness of the joint work between police intelligence and field teams, culminating in important arrests for Ceilândia's safety. After the arrest of the 3 suspects and their transfer to the police station, the team led by Sergeant Eduardo remained focused on ongoing investigations. The goal was to identify possible accomplices and track down the stolen goods from the optical store, especially the historically valuable firearm. Although the items were not initially found, police intelligence began monitoring the criminals' network to recover the missing items. During interrogations at the station, one of the suspects began providing important information. Pressured by the risk,
"Hey you who are watching a movie. I see that you didn't leave your like and didn't subscribe to the channel. Give me this strength for me to bring more content to you. Thank you."
Of a long sentence, he revealed details about the gang's modus operandi and how they usually disposed of stolen goods. According to him, the firearm and the ring had been passed to a known fence in the region, opening a new front in the investigation. With this new information, the operation entered a second phase. Teams were dispatched to strategic locations in Ceilândia to capture the fence and recover the items. Throughout the night, police searched abandoned houses and drug hotspots where the gang usually operated. Despite initial resistance from some local residents, the police managed to set up a tactical perimeter around a house that, according to informants, was hiding the stolen firearm. The approach was made carefully to avoid conflict with other criminals in the area. Upon entering the house, police found some of the stolen belongings, including the century-old firearm. The fence was not present, but their identification was already known, allowing the police to issue an arrest warrant. The recovered items were immediately taken to the station, where they would be returned to their rightful owners after proper verification. The gang, now weakened by the loss of its key members, began to fall apart. The success of the operation caused other members of the criminal organization to try to hide or flee the city, but Ceilândia's police intensified surveillance at the area's entrances and exits. Furthermore, other arrests were made in the following days, based on the information provided during the suspect's interrogations. The case had an immediate impact. The local media reported the operation as a landmark in the fight against organized crime in Ceilândia. The action coordinated by Sergeant Eduardo's team not only dismantled a criminal gang operating in the area but also recovered valuable items for the victims, something that doesn't always happen in such operations. Sergeant Eduardo, for his part, emphasized the importance of community cooperation and intelligence work, highlighting that the successful operation was only possible due to communication between the police and local residents. With the operation's conclusion, Ceilândia's police reaffirmed their commitment to continue patrolling the area and combating organized crime. Sergeant Eduardo and his team were praised by their superiors, and the case was seen as a model of police efficiency in the region. The operation served as a warning to other criminals, demonstrating that the police were present and active, ready to respond to any threat swiftly and effectively. The dismantled gang would continue to face legal proceedings, and with the collected evidence, the chances of conviction were high. The police, in turn, assured that vigilance in the Ceilândia area would remain constant to prevent other criminal groups from filling the void left by the arrested gang. The aftermath of the police operation in Ceilândia brought significant relief to the local community. The swift and decisive action by Sergeant Eduardo's team restored a sense of safety in the neighborhood, especially in the northern and lower parts of the area where crime was most frequent. As news of the arrests spread, local businesses and residents expressed gratitude for the police presence, feeling reassured that steps were being taken to curb the wave of violence and crime that had plagued the region. However, the authorities knew that this victory, while important, was only part of a larger battle against organized crime in Ceilândia. The gang's dismantling had left a power vacuum, and intelligence reports suggested that rival groups could attempt to move in and take control of the territory vacated by the arrested suspects. To prevent a resurgence of criminal activities, the police developed a comprehensive strategy to increase their presence in key areas, particularly focusing on zones prone to drug trafficking and gang disputes. Additional patrols were assigned to maintain a continuous law enforcement presence, particularly in the vicinity of schools, shopping centers, and public transportation hubs, where the criminal elements often recruited young members or engaged in illegal activities. The police also worked closely with local leaders and community organizations to foster stronger relationships and encourage the public to report any suspicious activities. This collaboration was key to preventing crime from regaining a foothold in the area. Meanwhile, the legal proceedings against the captured suspects progressed. The evidence gathered during the operation, including the testimonies of victims and the recovery of stolen goods, formed a solid case against the gang members. The prosecutors were confident that the trial would result in significant sentences, which would serve as a deterrent to others involved in similar criminal activities. In particular, the recovery of the century-old firearm, a crucial piece of evidence, bolstered the case, tying the suspects directly to the robbery at the optical store. As the case gained public attention, the operation in Ceilândia was hailed as an example of how coordinated efforts between local law enforcement, community engagement, and intelligence can effectively combat organized crime. The media continued to follow the developments, showcasing the operation as a turning point in the fight against long-standing criminal networks in the area. The attention also brought political interest, with local officials praising the police for their efforts and using the case to push for more resources and funding for crime prevention programs. For Sergeant Eduardo and his team, the successful outcome of the operation was a testament to their dedication and strategic approach. Yet, they remained vigilant, knowing that crime could easily resurface if complacency set in. Eduardo emphasized the need for ongoing collaboration between the police and the community, highlighting that the fight against crime required not just law enforcement but also social initiatives that address the root causes of criminal behavior, such as poverty, lack of education, and limited job opportunities. In the months following the operation, Ceilândia saw a noticeable decline in violent crimes and gang-related activities. The police's increased presence, coupled with the arrests, disrupted the networks that had previously operated with relative impunity. As a result, local businesses began to recover, and residents reported feeling safer when moving through their neighborhoods. The long-term impact of the operation was felt not just in the arrests but in the broader sense of security and optimism it fostered in the community. It served as a reminder that, with the right resources and a committed police force, even the most entrenched criminal organizations could be brought down. However, the challenges remained, and for Sergeant Eduardo, the mission continued. His team stayed focused on preventing future crimes, ensuring that the streets of Ceilândia would remain secure for the long term.